All right, so we're diving into the Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco today, and we're going to unpack some of his strategies for building wealth, and I think you'll find it's a very different approach than kind of the usual advice you hear out there.
Yeah, DeMarco Stone, he throws a real curveball at that. That traditional financial planning, kind of pushes for a much more entrepreneurial mindset, kind of a fast track to wealth.
Yeah, the book starts out by really taking on this idea of get rich slow.
Yeah.
The go to school, get a good job, invest in the stock market,
Mhm.
save your pennies. It's kind of what we're all, told to do. But DeMarco argues that, that's just not a reliable way to get wealthy,
Yeah.
especially if you don't want to wait decades to see results.
Yeah, he uses this funny example, can you imagine like a 22-year-old, bragging about their millions made from mutual funds? Like, it's just not how it happens in the real world.
Right.
And DeMarco even kind of questions, are the people that are out there pushing this slow lane approach, are they secretly kind of playing the fast lane game themselves?
That's a good question. So if the slow lane isn't the answer, then what is DeMarco lays out these three paths:
Hmm.
the sidewalk, the slow lane, and the fast lane. Have you ever kind of stopped to think about like which path are you on right now?
He describes the sidewalk as, that instant gratification living paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
The slow lane is all about job security, saving diligently, those slow and steady investments.
Right. And then there's the fast lane. And this is where it gets interesting. This is all about creating your own business, controlling your assets,
Yeah.
generating passive income. It's like building a machine that makes money for you even when you're not actively working on it.
Yeah, he uses this great analogy of a road trip. The fast lane isn't just about reaching that destination of wealth. It's about having the right vehicle, the right map, and enough fuel, to make the journey. And in this case, that vehicle, your mindset and skills.
I like that analogy a lot. So
Yeah.
how do we kind of build a better vehicle for this fast lane journey? DeMarco talks a lot about leverage and control. We need to take charge of the factors that determine our wealth.
Exactly. Instead of, trading your time for money, at a job with limited earning potential. The fast lane is about, building a business that can grow, reach a huge audience leading to much higher profits. And DeMarco himself is like a perfect example. His website business, it really took off when he made some key changes to his model and his income skyrocketed.
Wow, that's awesome. So how do we find these fast lane businesses? DeMarco, he outlines these 5 business seedlings, and I like to picture them as little acorns that can sprout into, giant oak trees of wealth.
Yeah, he divides them into rental systems, things like real estate or storage units, computer software systems, websites and apps, content systems like books, online courses, things like that. Distribution systems like Amazon e-commerce platforms and human resource systems, which
Mm.
are, businesses that are built around employees. It's
Yeah,
not just about starting AMY business, it's about choosing the right type.
right. And he really emphasizes understanding how passive each system can be, how much income it can generate without you needing to constantly work on it. It's like planting a seed that grows and bears fruit without you needing to water it every single day.
Right. One of DeMarco's big ideas, is this law of affection. And it's, a bit of a counterpoint to the popular law of attraction. He's saying positive thinking alone, isn't going to make you rich. You have to actually create something valuable, something that benefits, a lot of people.
He puts it pretty bluntly: wishful thinking is not enough. You've got to make a real impact on the world. And that's where things get really interesting.
And of course, ideas without action are just dreams.
Yeah.
DeMarco shares a story about his own website. The idea wasn't revolutionary, but his execution was top notch. And that's what allowed him to, beat the competition.
So you got to have the great idea, but then you got to put in the work. You got to make it a reality. And DeMarco, I think, believes that speed is a key factor here. You can't just sit on a good idea. You need to move quickly, decisively.
Yeah, he's all about shifting that mindset, from being a consumer to being a producer, from, seeking comfort in the short term to, building a vision for the long haul. Imagine this like a choice tree. Every decision you make creates a branch, and those branches, lead to very different outcomes down the line. It's a powerful image.
Very cool. And so DeMarco lays out these, what he calls the commandments of the fast lane. They're kind of these guidelines for building wealth and freedom in a sustainable way. They're not just about making money. They're about building a life that you love.
Yeah, the first commandment is control. You need to own your business, not be a passenger, in someone else's venture.
Then there's entry. Avoid those super crowded markets,
Mm.
where it's easy for anyone to get in. You want to find a space where you can stand out and, build something unique.
Next up is Need solve a real problem or fulfill a genuine need. Don't just create a product or service because you think it's cool. Make sure it actually helps people.
And of course, time. Your business should generate income without being tied to the hours you work. That's the beauty of passive income.
And finally, there's scale, you know. Aim for a business that can grow exponentially, reaching, a huge market. Think big.
So these commandments, they're all about building a business that gives you control, freedom, and the power to make a real difference. And it all starts with a shift in perspective.
That's right. Think about it. Are you on the sidewalk, the slow lane, or are you on the fast lane? And, more importantly, where do you want to be? What I find really insightful is, how DeMarco goes beyond just those business strategies?
Right.
He really digs deep into like the psychology of wealth.
Yeah, she's definitely all about mindset,
Yeah. Yeah.
but in a way that feels different than just like think positive and you'll be rich.
Exactly. He says we need to like ditch that sidewalk mentality, that instant gratification,
Yeah.
and also escape that slow lane trap, of just trading time for money.
It's like breaking free from that, thank God it's Friday feeling where like your whole life revolves around the weekend because you're just stuck in this job that you don't love.
Right. Have you ever felt that way?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
DeMarco argues that, even good jobs, they limit your potential for leverage and control, which are, so crucial for building wealth, the fast lane way.
Yeah. He even
Yeah.
says, dunk the damn job.
Yeah.
Now, I realize that's not realistic for everyone right now, but I think his point is, don't let your job be the only way you plan for your financial future.
Yeah, he's a big advocate for, building multiple streams of income, especially, those passive streams that can generate wealth even while you sleep.
Right. And he's not a fan of how the slow lane, really relies on time spent at a job, time waiting for those investments to grow. And, time is limited. We're not getting any younger.
He has this powerful line. He says, time becomes the linchpin for wealth that congenitally ties to the mathematical handicaps of mortality. Basically saying, time is working against you in the slow lane.
Yes, we need to find ways to make money without being limited by time.
Right. Exactly. That's where entrepreneurship comes in and, those fast lane business models that we discussed earlier.
Right.
They offer a way to break free from that, time for money equation.
One thing that really struck me was, his concept of faux wealth. It's like when people are, trying to look rich without actually being wealthy.
Right. Have you ever noticed that?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
He calls it, the pursuit of faux wealth, and he warns that, it can actually sabotage your true wealth-building journey.
Right.
Yeah.
He even tells this personal story. After selling his first company, he thought he was rich and went on this like spending spree, a sports car designer, clothes, even looking into a speedboat. But he realized really quickly that it was all an illusion.
Yeah, it's a great cautionary tale. DeMarco wants us to understand that, true wealth isn't about appearances. It's about, financial freedom and security.
Yeah. And to achieve that freedom, he really stresses the importance of building what he calls a money system. And this isn't just about saving. It's about making your money work for you. All right. Generating that passive income through investments and other assets that generate cash flow.
And it's important to note here, that DeMarco distinguishes between, growing wealth and growing income.
Okay.
Your fast lane business should focus on growing wealth while, the money system kind of helps provide a safety net and that additional passive income.
That makes sense. He also emphasizes the need for, financial literacy. You can't just hand your finances over to an advisor and hope for the best.
Yeah.
You need to understand, the basics of how money works.
You have to be able to, evaluate their advice and make informed decisions. If you don't understand personal finance, you're essentially giving up control of your financial future.
Right. He has this impactful analogy. He compares financial illiteracy to being deaf.
Yeah.
You can't hear the warning signs, the potential pitfalls if you don't understand how money works.
Now, while the book is, packed with those business strategies, DeMarco doesn't forget about, the personal side of things. He talks about lifestyle design, creating a life that reflects your values and goals.
Having the freedom to do what you want when you want without being tied to a job or a specific location.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a dream for a lot of people.
And he reminds us to, surround ourselves with positive influences and, avoid those human headwind bloviators, those people who try to discourage you from chasing your dreams.
Yeah, the ones who say that'll never work or you're not cut out for that.
Yeah.
We've all encountered those people.
Yeah, it's crucial to recognize those negative influences and, distance yourself from them. They can really hold you back. on your fast lane journey.
For sure. Instead, DeMarco, encourages seeking out mentors, supportive communities, resources that'll help you grow.
Yeah.
He talks about turning those headwinds into tailwinds, you know, finding people who will push you forward, not hold you back.
And we can't talk about the fast lane without talking about execution. DeMarco is adamant that ideas without action are worthless.
It's not enough to just dream it. You got to do it right.
He shares a story about Sylvester Stallone,
Oh, yeah.
who, relentlessly pursued his vision for the movie Rocky.
Right.
Despite constant rejections. It's an inspiring story of perseverance.
Absolutely.
Stallone didn't just have a great idea. He had that tenacity and drive to make it happen, and that's ultimately what led to his success.
And DeMarco also highlights the importance of speed in execution. He says the business of speed is execution. The speed of the fast lane is growing a business exponentially and taking advantage of exploding net income and asset value. It's about moving quickly, decisively.
He also emphasizes, customer satisfaction, arguing that, successful businesses go above and beyond to meet customer needs. Happy customers mean a thriving business.
He uses the analogy of a restaurant. Imagine you order sea bass and it comes out raw.
Oh.
Your expectations are shattered. You complain. But the real issue for the owner is WHYY. It happened.
Right.
Was it a chef's mistake? Was it a problem with the kitchen process? Complaints can actually be valuable feedback.
Yeah, they can reveal, operational issues, marketing mishaps, even problems with the product itself.
So it's about listening to your customers and using their feedback to improve, make it even better.
Right.
Now, he's not saying to give in to every demanding customer, especially those who are just trying to, take advantage.
Right. He suggests picking your battles, responding to complaints with grace, but also setting boundaries. It's about finding that balance.
DeMarco also dives into the power of branding.
Yeah.
He believes that, businesses might survive, but brands are what truly thrive.
He argues that, strong brands are built on unique selling propositions. Those USPs that set your business apart from the competition.
Think about brands like FedEx with their overnight delivery guarantee, or Domino's Pizza with their 30-minute promise.
Those USPs, they're memorable. They're catchy. They communicate a clear benefit to the customer. They make you stand out.
Right. And DeMarco even offers this step-by-step process.
Yeah.
For identifying and using your USP to build a strong brand.
He also discusses the need to, break through the noise, in a crowded marketplace.
It's a noisy world out there.
He suggests tactics like, polarization, using sex appeal, creating interactivity, even being unconventional. To grab your audience's attention, you got to be bold and creative.
Yeah, and ultimately he reminds us, consumers are driven by emotions.
Right.
So if you can evoke an emotional response, excitement, humor, a sense of urgency, you're more likely to persuade them to buy. It's about connecting on a deeper level.
This brings us to, DeMarco's concept of business monogamy, which he contrasts with business polygamy.
Okay.
He's talking about, focused commitment, really pouring your energy into one venture. He uses the example of, a college friend named Marcus, who was always jumping from one business opportunity to the next, never really fully committing to anything.
I know a Marcus like that.
He calls this the Teckle syndrome, and cautions against spreading yourself too thin across multiple ventures. It can lead to weak commitment and disappointing results.
It's like a relationship. You can't build something strong and lasting if you're always distracted by other options, right?
Exactly. DeMarco believes that, success comes from, dedicating yourself to a business that you're truly passionate about.
Right.
He argues that, this level of commitment is what ultimately leads to, building a valuable asset that can generate, real wealth and freedom. It's about playing the long game and playing it with heart.
So DeMarco's Millionaire Fastlane, it's like this roadmap for, accelerating your wealth-building journey by ditching conventional wisdom, embracing entrepreneurship, taking charge of your financial destiny.
It's about making bold choices, taking calculated risks, executing your vision with speed and precision.
Right, and it's about building a business that not only makes you money, but also brings you fulfillment.
What's so exciting about, DeMarco's approach is that it's not just about, getting rich. It's about designing a life you love, a life of freedom and purpose.
One of the things I appreciate about DeMarco's book is that he doesn't just kind of leave you with these big ideas. He gives you practical tools to kind of put them into action. He calls them the fast lane superchargers. It's like he's handing you a toolbox, to build your dream.
Yeah, these superchargers, they're all about, amplifying your efforts and accelerating your progress, towards financial freedom. It's like giving your fast lane vehicle, a nitrous boost.
I like it. So the first supercharger DeMarco talks about is debt. Now, before you run for the hills, he's not saying all debt is bad.
Right.
It's about understanding the difference between good debt and bad debt.
Yeah, he encourages us to embrace, productive debt, the kind that helps you build assets and generate income.
Yeah.
Think of it as an investment that pays off, in the long run.
Right, but bad debt, like, racking up credit card bills or taking out car loans you can't afford, that's the kind that drags you down and keeps you stuck in the slow lane. It's like driving with the parking brake on.
Another supercharger is education, but, he's not talking about going back to school necessarily. It's about self-education, continuously learning and acquiring new skills that'll, help you succeed in the fast lane.
Yeah, he's a huge advocate for becoming a lifelong learner. He encourages us to devour books, attend seminars, find mentors, basically never stop absorbing knowledge.
Yeah.
It's about staying curious and constantly, expanding your horizons.
He even suggests creating your own toilet university and jobbing university, using downtime, at work or even on the toilet to learn something new. It's about finding those creative ways to squeeze in learning no matter how busy you are.
I love that, turning those little pockets of time into opportunities for growth. They're like getting a mini MBA while you're on the go.
DeMarco also emphasizes the importance of commitment. It's about going beyond just being interested in something. You have to be fully dedicated to achieving your goals.
He talks about putting in red line effort, pushing yourself to the limit and refusing to give up.
Yeah.
It's that unwavering determination that separates the dreamers from the doers.
He draws a distinction between short-term comfort and long-term comfort. Most people choose the familiarity of short-term mediocrity because it feels safe and easy. But fast lane success often requires sacrificing that immediate gratification for the potential of something much greater, down the line.
Yeah, it's like choosing to climb a mountain even though it's going to be tough, because the view from the top is going to be incredible.
DeMarco also encourages you to understand your why, the deep-seated reason behind your desire for wealth, what's driving you, what's the bigger purpose behind your financial goals.
He says, the bigger your why, the easier the how. If you have a strong enough reason for wanting to achieve financial freedom, it'll fuel your motivation and help you overcome obstacles. It's like having this unbreakable internal compass guiding you towards your destination.
He shares a powerful anecdote about his own moment of clarity. He was stuck in a blizzard, driving a limo, feeling totally lost and disillusioned. And that's when he had this epiphany: you cannot live another day like this.
Wow.
It was a turning point for him. He knew he had to make a change, and that realization, launched his journey to the fast lane. Sometimes it takes, a wake-up call to kind of set us on a new path.
Absolutely. So DeMarco also talks about taking intelligent risks.
Yeah.
And it's about being smart and calculated, not reckless.
Right. He distinguishes between moronic risks, which have limited upside and unlimited downside. Think gambling your life savings on a risky venture. And then there are intelligent risks, which have unlimited upside and limited downside, like starting a business, where the potential rewards outweigh the potential losses.
He gives examples of intelligent risks. Starting a business, investing in real estate, even pursuing a new career that aligns with your passions. It's about stepping outside your comfort zone, but doing it in a strategic and calculated way.
He also emphasizes that there's never a perfect time to take a risk. Waiting for someday is just a recipe for procrastination. Sometimes you just have to take a leap of faith and trust that you'll figure things out as you go.
So true. DeMarco talks about finding your open road, identifying a business or industry that aligns with your skills and interests. It's about finding that sweet spot where your passion meets opportunity.
He argues that, you're far more likely to succeed if you genuinely enjoy what you're doing. It's like finding that flow state where work doesn't feel like work anymore. It feels like a natural extension of who you are.
That's a great feeling. He offers a series of questions to help you kind of pinpoint your open road. What are you good at? What do you enjoy doing? What problems can you solve? It's about taking inventory of your strengths and passions and seeing how they align with the needs of the world.
He also encourages us to, give our open road a destination, set clear goals and create a plan to achieve them.
Yeah.
It's like having a roadmap that guides your journey and helps you stay on track.
So true. And DeMarco recommends using a framework called SMART goals, goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. It's a way to make sure your goals are well-defined and actionable.
And finally, DeMarco reminds us that, wealth is not an event. It's a process. It's about enjoying the journey, embracing the ups and downs, and celebrating every milestone along the way.
Love that. So
Yeah.
the Millionaire Fastlane. It's a call to action. It's a challenge to break free from the ordinary, to think bigger, to embrace entrepreneurship, and to create a life, filled with abundance and purpose.
It's about taking control of your financial future, building a business that makes a difference, and, living life on your own terms.
So we've explored, DeMarco's roadmap to the fast lane, but the journey truly begins with a question. What need can you solve? What impact can you have on the world?
The answers to those questions, that's where your Fastlane adventure begins.